recently shared a video here on YouTube about a question that I was asked on a podcast from a gentleman called Plamen about really how I made seven figures with one of my businesses in a very, very simple way. No complicated funnels and systems, just a very simple approach that got me to seven figures. Now, in this clip, this is another clip from that same podcast. I'm going to be breaking down how I'm changing my approach going into 2025. You see, the way of selling an online service, agency services, coaching services in 2023, 2024, that kind of way of doing it that worked then is probably not going to work as well now in 2025. So in this little clip, I'm going to break down exactly what I'm changing, why I'm changing it, and how you can kind of take what I'm doing to hopefully see similar results.
That's a really great point, man, because you are right. That's a fact. Like things have changed. Obviously, the exact way we sold 4 years ago, it just can't really work that well. This day, it has to be different. And so there's been a lot of changes. Like obviously, we've seen a lot of people move from high ticket back to more low ticket, or go from high ticket back to just community, just kind of subscription monthly models, and all of them work. And there's been those changes, but like the fundamental piece of selling a program where you are going to charge upfront, and maybe there's some extra fees, like a monthly fee later on, it still works, right? And so to come back to your point of how do we address that now? How do we do things differently now in 2024 going into 2025? Well, I think on my side, what I'm doing differently is, number one, like I said, I didn't change the name of my program. And that's a very subtle thing. But again, that gives me literally so much proof. And again, it's that consistency in people's minds that like the thing has changed, the market is different, the way we do stuff is different, the product that I sell is different, but the program is the same. You're still buying that same thing. So that's one thing that obviously people can't implement within 2 months, but like for the next 2 years, I'd recommend, if you have a program and it's fitness based, just pick a name, a good name, and stick with it. Don't keep changing it up and chopping and changing. The second thing then is definitely the sales process. So for example, for my program, it's not a very, pushy, hey, book a call, then we'll tell you the price. And then only then you can join if we think you're a good fit kind of process. And that does still work for sure. It's just that personally, for the way that I've found people tend to interact with me, is I work with a lot of people that are naturally very skeptical. I'm from Ireland, and a lot of Irish people are really skeptical. And I get some interest from Irish people because I'm Irish. And so if we take that demographic, I understand that very well. And I know that if I give a 25-year-old Irish guy sees an ad or a video from me, and then goes and messages me, and he's met with a very kind of robotic, over enthusiastic guy trying to get him onto a call who won't tell him anything about the price of his program or how it works or any of that stuff, he probably won't do it. He'll just be like, see you later, right? Not for me. And so one thing I do is I tell people the price of my program up front. I don't hide it. I show it to them when they're interested. So I tell them what's included, of course. I show them the value, I show the results, but I do give them the price. Is it the best sales strategy in the world? I don't know. You'd have to test side by side. But what I have found is that it builds a lot of trust. People tend to, when they then do book a call with me, close rate is obviously very high because price shouldn't be the biggest issue. It still can be an issue for people, but it's not the biggest. Because if someone really is looking for $100 product, they're going to see my price and click off the page and go somewhere else. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. So maybe I lose a couple of sales here and there because of that. But I think that's something that people can do, where you can just be authentically upfront. Here's what I offer. Here's who it helps. Here's all the value, but I'm not going to hide it from you, and tell people that you're not going to hide it from them. Just be upfront about it. That's such a small thing you can do. Lastly, then on the sales process, again, if you are selling a program where you don't want to show price and you do want to make sure they book a call and then you show the price, that's fine. It still works. But if you're going to do that, I would recommend that you don't kind of follow what we've seen to be the norm of, for example, in the fitness space 4 years ago, because I worked with a lot of fitness clients in my agency. I know the process back then was a short call, 15, 20 minutes, a triage call, qualify, see if they got funds, see if they got time to do this, then book them into a 60-minute call, which was a sales call. And that would be really kind of hypey, pitchy, very high pressure sales. And then, see the price at the very end, and then they join. That process probably doesn't work as well today. So if you were to go with a more upfront approach, showing people the value upfront and the price, and then only having calls with people who truly are still interested, I think you're going to run a much more enjoyable business, first off. And two, you actually, in my opinion, will find a pretty good conversion rate because people will respect the authenticity, they'll respect the upfrontness, and you weren't trying to manipulate or kind of hold anything back from them.
So there you have it. That was the clip. Again, thank you, Plamen, for inviting me on the podcast and asking just really great questions. If at this point you want to know more about working one-on-one with me to help you build your online business, whether it's a social media marketing business or a coaching or consulting business, just see the information that's in the description of this video. And from there, you'll see the actions you can take to work with me.